Okay, good morning class.
Good morning, sir.
So today we're looking at trigonometric ratios. At this point we have dealt with exercise 7.1 to 7.7, correct? In general notes, so something that you have picked up at this point. You guys can write this down as well. General notes: when simplifying a trigonometric ratio, start by using reduction formulae to ensure that all the ratios are reduced to ratios of acute angles. That's number one. The second point, substitute relevant values for the ratios of special angles, so that you're going to use the 90, 30, 60, 45, and those values there, which is from your special angles, your special angle triangles there. And then also be on the lookout for pairs of complementary angles. And when would something be complementary? If it's 90 plus, 90 minus, or 270 plus, 270 minus. Okay, what's his name is going to put it on the grid. Okay. What's your name? And these one. Okay. But it looks like I haven't cut the next part yet. I'll give you a chance quickly to write this down. And then I will cut the next part. Okay? So listen, okay. And this is for exercise 7.8, and 7.8 is on page 240. 241. Please settle down. So make this note quickly. Okay, so we're looking at examples for exercise 7.8, and 7.8 is on page 241. Okay, so today we're looking at angles that is greater than 360 degrees. Angles that's greater than 360 degrees are negative angles. Okay. So A angles that are greater than 360 degrees. The angle 684 is an example of an angle that's greater than 360 degrees. You all agree with that? Okay. But if you're looking at, say for argument's sake, sine of, if I take 360 degrees away from here, I get 258. Not so. Let's go with sine of 258. Sine 258. Then answer of negative 0,978. What do you think will happen if I add another 360 to that? We'll give you the same answer of negative 0,978. Can you see that? What will happen if I add another 360 to it? Same answer, negative 0,978. If I add another 360 to it, same answer. Another 360. Same answer. Another 360. Same. And so on and so on. As long as I'm adding 360 degrees, it doesn't matter how big the angle is. As long as I'm adding in increments of 360 degrees, I don't change the value of anything. The reason for that is because if you look at this cost diagram here, 256 is in the third quadrant. You all agree with that? But what happens if I add 360 to that? It lands on the same arm. Can you see that? Now you add again 360, lands on the same arm, and again 360. And as long as it's going to lie in the same arm and the same position, it's going to give me the same ratio. You guys understand? So when we're adding, if we're going to subtract, or we add 360 degrees to 258, whichever amount, it will always give the same answer. So let's look at sine of 30. What is sine of 30? Sine of 30 is half. What will happen if I subtract 360 from that? What do you think you're going to get? Half again. What will happen if I subtract 360 again? Half. Get 360, what should I get? Half. And again. Half. And again. Half. And so on and so on. As long as I'm subtracting 360 degrees from that angle, I'm not changing the value of anything. The reason for that again if 30 degrees in the first quadrant, and the ratio is half, and I go in the negative direction now. This is minus 360, lands on the same arm. Minus 360, minus 360, minus 360, and so on and so on. So, if the angle is greater than 360, what do? I subtract 360 to get it in from 0 to 360. If the angle is negative, then I add 360 until the angle is again an angle between 0 to 360. You guys understand? Okay, so today's lesson is basically based upon that. That explanation is given there. If you want, you can read through this information, and that is on page 200 and just check there. 40. Alright. So today we're going to look at, well, now we will be looking at examples. And this example 1 is on page. Example 1 on page 241. And the exercise, this is for exercise 7.8, also on page 241. Okay. So the question says, determine the signs of the following ratios. So in other words, I'm going to reduce this to acute angles. Okay, so I'm going to change that instruction and change it to acute angle. Okay. I'm going to do a bit more than what is required. Okay, because never do they ask you in exam or something to you just give the signs of the following ratios. Okay. People, remember this is now over 360 degrees, not so. So what do I say? Tan of. So I just subtract 360. I don't show 496 minus 360. I don't show that. So what I do is put in my calculator. 497 minus 360 gives me 137. So that is what I write down. So we ask ourselves, okay, which quadrant is 137 in? How do I get in quadrant 2? So I say 180 minus 180 give me negative 43. So it's 180 minus 43. Any sign positive or negative there? Negative tan of. And as you can see, their answer is the sign, so the sign is just negative. But you guys understand? Right, let's look at the next one, number 2. Cos of 685. So I say 685 minus 360 gives me 325. So it's cos 325. Which quadrant is 325 in? Fourth quadrant. How do you get in the fourth quadrant? So I say cos of 360 minus 35. Okay, so 360 minus 35 in this quadrant. Is cos positive or negative? Positive. Positive cos of 35. Okay, you guys understand? Look at number 3. Here we got sine of 946. So what do I do first? Minus 360. So I say 946 minus 360. Usually it's not within 0 to 360 range yet. So minus 360 again. I get 226. So I write this is equivalent to sine of 226. Which quadrant is 226 in? Quadrant 3. Not so how do you get that? It's quadrant 1, 2, 3 and 4. Huh? So what do I say? Sine of 180 minus some angle. Sorry, plus. So sine 180 plus 46. Check here, minus 180. 46. So is sine positive or negative in the third quadrant? Negative. So it's negative sine. But remember the question was, why are you talking? Huh? Okay, the question was just for the sign. So as you can see here, the sign is, the ratio in the third quadrant is negative. Okay. Yes? Okay. So now we're looking at negative angles. We already explained negative angles, but something to note here is that if this is 0, 90, 180, 270, 360, that is going in that direction. Not so. If I move in the opposite direction, of course, it's going to be negative. So that's 0, minus 90, minus 180, minus 270, minus 360, and so on. Okay? Also, that if you look at, if you are asked you to plot negative theta, or if you want to know where negative theta would be, it would be in this quadrant here. As you can see, it's 0. What is negative 180 plus theta? So that is negative 90, negative 180 plus. Now remember, when you add, you go in this direction, not so. So there's negative 180 plus theta. This is negative 180 minus theta. But still, that is all stations to play with. It still applies. This is still quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4, irrespective when you're working with negative angles. Okay, but what I'm going to adopt is, instead of working with negative angles here, when the angle is negative, I add 360 till it becomes positive. Okay, you guys understand? Alright, so what do we say here? Negative angles are measured in an anti-clockwise direction, negative angles are measured. Okay, so positive angles are measured in an anti-clockwise direction, negative angles are measured in a clockwise direction. That's what I indicated there. If the angle of theta is 40 in clockwise direction, we say that is theta is negative 40 there. The following diagram illustrates that, okay, so that we spoke about that now. That we already spoke about. If it's negative, like negative 40, we add 360, it's going to be the same as, then negative 40 is the same as 320. Can you see it lies on the same arm again? And so on and so on. Okay, the diagram illustrates the position of the positive angle 110 with the negative angle of 250. As you can see, it's the same angle. Alright. Is this the examples for the next exercise? Still the same. Is this still for exercise 7.8?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, there's a note again that I want you guys to make. For angles greater than 360 degrees, subtract 360 until you have an angle in the interval 0 to 360. This is exactly what I just said now again. As well as for negative angles, you add 360 until you have an angle in the interval 0 to 360. That's exactly what I've stressed so far. Okay. So for angles greater than 360 degrees, subtract 360 until you have an angle in the interval 0 to 360. And for negative angles, you add 360 until you have an angle in the interval 0 to 360. Okay. People, that's example set 2 on page. What's on 241? No, man. 214, eh? Now, why are you guys telling me 241? In future, I must just try and do my own thing and not depend on what you guys say. Right, this is the example set 2. Determine the signs of the following ratios. Again, what am I going to do? I'm going to reduce it to acute angles. Okay. So if you're looking at the first one, number 1, cos of negative 210. So what do? You add 360. So you say negative 210. Negative 210 plus 360 gives us 150. So it's cos of 150. So we go. All stations to play 1. That's 180. So either the 150 is in which quadrant? Second quadrant. So it becomes cos of 180 minus 30. Is it okay? 180 minus 30. Is cos positive or negative? There's negative cos of 30. So hang on. This reminds us what? Special angles. So that's a 30 degrees. 1, 2, root 3. Okay. So what is cos of 30 degrees? Negative root 3 over. But remember the question was just for the sine. So they wanted you to stop here already to say that the sine is negative. You guys understand? I'm just going a bit further. No? Let's look at number 2. Sine of negative 497. So what do we do with that? For negative 497? So sorry, 495. We add 360. So it's negative 135. We add again 360. Get 225. So it becomes sine of 225. You say, okay, hang on. Which quadrant is 225 in? Third quadrant. So how do we get in the third quadrant? 180 plus 45. The third quadrant is sine positive or negative? Negative sine 45. So hang on, this is also a special angle here, not so special triangle. This is your isosceles triangle, so it's 1, 1 root 2. So this sine stands for opposite over. So it's negative 1 over root 2. But they wanted the sine, so the sine is going to be negative.
So
Yes.
that's why I got that answer. So the other few questions now, and in the back of the book it says negative root 2 over 2.
Okay, but if you got negative root 2 over 2, then you say, okay, you got negative 1 over root 2. Remember the one we spoke about rationalizing the denominator. So you're going to get full marks for that or for that. It doesn't matter. Okay, is there any other questions? Alright. Then number 3, we got sine of 660. So what do we do with that? We subtract 360. So you're going to get 300. Okay. So that is sine of 300 degrees. So what do I do? Which quadrant is 300 in? The fourth quadrant. How do we get in the fourth quadrant? 360 minus 30. The sign positive and negative in the fourth quadrant? Negative. So it's negative sign? Sorry? Oh, okay. So it's going to... Oh, I made a mistake. Okay, sorry about that. Why did I get on the calculator? 300. Okay, sorry man. So it's minus 60. So it's negative sign, as it is in the fourth quadrant. The special angle, 30 and 60 is in the same, so 60. Sine is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So it's negative root 3 over 2. But they wanted to know the sine, so the sine is going to be negative. Is there any confusion there? Let's just take this off here. Number 4. So let's look at number 4. So we got 10 of 855. So what do I do here? All stations to clear one. So I say 855 minus 360. You see it's still over 360 degrees. So you subtract 360 again. Gives you 135. So that is 10 of 135 degrees. Which quadrant is 135 degrees? 2. How do you get in the quadrant 2? 180 minus 45. So is 10 positive or negative in this quadrant? Negative. Is negative 10, 45. Special angle. So the 45 degree triangle. So it's 1, 1, the root 2. Not so. The tan is opposite of adjacent. So it's negative 1 over 1, which is negative. You all agree with that? And to them, they just wanted to know the sign, so the sign is negative. The last one for number 5. This is the negative angle here. So what do I do? Add 360. So negative 45 plus 360 is 315. Not so. That is cos 350, which is the same as, which quadrant is this in? Fourth quadrant. The same as 360 minus 45. As we see, it's in the fourth quadrant. Is cos positive or negative? Positive. Cos special angle. Cos is adjacent of hypotenuse. Is 1 over or root 2 over 3. Do you guys understand? So with that, you should have been able to do exercise 7.8. At this point, you guys have completed it. Was there any issues there? Exercise 7.8. Ms. Lala, any problems? Sorry? Number 5, she says. Exercise 7.8. So the sum reads cos of negative 420. So it's a negative angle, so what do I do? So negative 420 plus 360 gives you negative 60. So what do I do? Add again 360, I get 300. Which is cos of 300. Which quadrant is 300 in? Fourth quadrant. So what do I say? Cos of 360 minus 60. Is cos positive or negative in the fourth quadrant? Positive. Cos 60. That takes you to the special triangle. 30, 60, 1, 2, root 3. Cos of 60. Adjacent of hypotenuse is 1 over. Where did you go wrong? Wrong quadrant. Okay. Number 6. But tan of negative 210. So what do I do? You add 360. Tan of negative 210. Sorry. Negative 210 plus 360 gives you 150. So that's going to give you tan of 150. Which quadrant is that in? 2. So it's going to be tan. But then that is going to change to 1 over tan of 60. Did you change it to 1 over 10? And that's your mistake. That's why I say don't use 90 and 270 and just use it as required. Which quadrant is this? Second quadrant. So it's negative tan of 30. Tan is opposite of adjacent, so it's negative 1 over 30.
So, what must we use?
If you had gone, is that answer correct?
Yes, yes, I understand.
Okay, so if you had gone your route, no? So you would say tan of, for 115, tan of 90 plus 60. So that's going to be 1 over tan of 60. So tan of 60, tan is opposite over adjacent. So it's 1 divided by root 3 over, where there's negative because it's in the second quadrant. 1 over 1, which is negative 1 over 1 multiplied by 1 over root 3. So it's negative 1 over root, which is the same answer.
And if you use 270, it also does.
Yeah. You must remember that tan for 90 plus or minus and 270 plus or minus becomes 1 over 10. Okay. Alright, so that basically brings us to the end of exercise 7.8. You guys have done 7.9, so we're going to go into 7.9 now.